You've probably heard that walking in the morning is one of the healthiest things you can do. And if you're over 50, maybe you've already started doing it. Stepping outside before breakfast, hoping to burn a little fat, clear your head, and feel better about the day ahead. It sounds simple. It sounds safe. It sounds like exactly the kind of thing a doctor would tell you to do. But here's what almost nobody is telling you. Walking before breakfast after the age of 50 does something very specific inside your body, something that is completely different from walking at any other time of day. And depending on how you do it, it can either be one of the most powerful metabolic tools available to you, or it can quietly work against your energy, your muscle, your hormones, and yes, even your belly fat. Most people who try this habit either don't do it long enough to see results, or they make one or two small mistakes that cancel out almost every benefit. And the worst part? They have no idea it's happening. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens inside your body when you walk before eating. The good, the surprising, and the part that most people over 50 completely miss. We're going to talk about belly fat, blood sugar, cortisol, muscle loss, digestion, your brain, your joints, your sleep, and your energy. And I'm going to show you how to make this one simple habit work harder for your body every single morning. Stay until the end because the final point is the one that changes everything. Let's start with the most important question first. Does walking before breakfast actually burn more belly fat? The short answer is yes, but not for the reason most people think. Most people assume the logic is simple. You haven't eaten yet, so your body has no choice but to burn fat. And while that's partially true, the real story is a lot more interesting and a lot more useful once you understand it properly. Here's what's actually happening. When you wake up in the morning, your body has been in a fasted state for somewhere between 8 and 12 hours, depending on when you last ate. During that time, your liver has been using up its stored glycogen. That's the sugar your body keeps on hand as quick fuel. By morning, those stores are relatively low. So when you go for a walk before eating anything, your body shifts into a different fuel-burning mode. It starts pulling more from fat stores to power your muscles. Research has confirmed this. Studies have shown that people who exercise in a fasted state burn significantly more fat during the activity compared to those who exercise after eating. And for people over 50, this matters even more because belly fat, specifically the visceral fat that wraps around your organs, becomes much harder to shift as we age. The hormonal environment changes, estrogen drops in women, testosterone drops in men, and the body becomes more inclined to store fat in the abdominal region. A fasted morning walk directly targets this problem at the metabolic level. But the fat burning effect is not just about what happens during the walk itself, it's about what happens for the rest of the day, and this is where things get really interesting. When you walk in a fasted state, your body increases its sensitivity to insulin for hours afterward. Insulin is the hormone that tells your cells to absorb sugar from the blood. When your cells become more responsive to insulin, your blood sugar stays more stable throughout the day. That means fewer cravings, fewer energy crashes in the afternoon, and less excess glucose being converted and stored as fat. For people over 50, this is critical. Insulin resistance, where your cells stop responding properly to insulin, is one of the most common and most damaging metabolic changes that develops with age. It contributes to belly fat, fatigue, brain fog, inflammation, and eventually type 2 diabetes. A brisk morning walk before breakfast is one of the simplest and most effective ways to fight back against this process naturally, without medication and without a complex diet. Now, this is where most people make their first mistake. They go for a slow, leisurely stroll and wonder why they're not seeing any results after weeks of trying. The truth is, the intensity of the walk matters. You don't need to run. You don't need to push yourself to exhaustion, but you do need to walk at a pace that is brisk enough to get your heart rate elevated, a pace where you can still hold a conversation, but you're breathing a little harder than normal. That pace is where the real metabolic benefits kick in. At that level of effort, your muscles are actively pulling glucose and fatty acids from the blood, your heart is working harder, and your metabolism receives a meaningful boost. A slow shuffle around the block, while better than nothing, will not produce the same results. Aim for at least 20 to 30 minutes at a purposeful, brisk pace. That is the sweet spot for most people over 50. And this brings us to something that almost nobody talks about, what a morning walk does to your brain. After 50, the brain undergoes real changes. blood flow to the brain naturally decreases over time. The hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and learning, begins to shrink slightly with age. Brain chemicals like dopamine and serotonin become harder to regulate naturally. The result is what many people describe as brain fog, low motivation, forgetfulness, or just a flat, uninspired feeling every morning. What's remarkable is that a brisk walk before breakfast directly addresses all of these things at once. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain immediately. It triggers the release of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essentially fertilizer for your brain cells. It stimulates dopamine and serotonin, which lifts mood and sharpens focus within minutes. And it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, which in chronically high levels actually damages brain tissue over time. People who walk regularly report better memory, better concentration, and a significantly better mood. And this effect is especially pronounced when the walk happens in the morning, before the stress of the day takes hold. Now, here's why this matters more after 50. The risk of cognitive decline accelerates in the second half of life. Conditions like dementia don't arrive suddenly. They develop slowly over decades, and one of the most important contributing factors is reduced physical activity and declining blood flow to the brain. A daily morning walk is not a cure, but it is one of the most evidence-backed protective habits you can build into your life, and it costs nothing. If that surprised you, the next point is even more important, because we're about to talk about what a morning walk does to your digestive system, and most people never make this connection. Most people think digestion is only affected by what you eat, but movement plays an enormous role in how well your digestive system functions. As we age, the muscles in the gut wall become less efficient. Food moves more slowly through the intestines. This leads to bloating, constipation, discomfort, and that sluggish, heavy feeling that makes you reach for more coffee just to feel like yourself. Walking stimulates what's called gut motility, the rhythmic contractions that move food and waste through your digestive tract. Even moderate walking triggers these contractions. So a morning walk before breakfast essentially wakes your digestive system up and gets it moving before you add food to it. The result is smoother digestion, less bloating throughout the day, and more regular bowel movements. For many people over 50, this benefit alone makes the habit worth building. Digestive discomfort is one of the most common complaints in this age group, and it quietly affects energy, mood, sleep, and even nutrient absorption. When your gut isn't working efficiently, your body doesn't absorb vitamins, minerals, and proteins as well, which over time contributes to fatigue, weaker muscles, poor immunity, and slower recovery from illness or injury. And speaking of muscles, let's address one of the biggest fears people over 50 have about fast exercise, because this is where the confusion begins. The concern sounds logical. You haven't eaten, your body needs fuel, so it must be breaking down your muscle for energy. This is the myth that keeps many people from ever trying fast morning walks, and it is largely misunderstood. Here's what actually happens. Muscle breakdown during a moderate intensity walk is minimal. Your body prioritizes fat as its fuel source during low to moderate aerobic exercise. It only turns to muscle protein as a significant fuel source during prolonged, very high-intensity exercise. At 30 to 45 minutes, brisk walk is nowhere close to that threshold. As long as you are eating adequate protein throughout the day, and this becomes more important after 50, a morning walk before breakfast will not cost you meaningful muscle mass. In fact, the metabolic improvements the walk creates, particularly the improvement in insulin sensitivity and hormone regulation, actually support better muscle retention over time. Your muscles become more efficient at absorbing and using protein from the food you eat later in the day. However, and this is an important point, there is one group of people for whom fasted exercise does carry a real risk, and that is people with diabetes or blood sugar regulation problems. If you are on insulin or blood sugar medication, exercising before eating can cause blood glucose to drop too low, a condition called hypoglycemia. Symptoms include dizziness, shakiness, sweating, and confusion. If this applies to you, please speak with your doctor before changing your morning routine. You may need a small snack before walking, or you may need to walk after a light breakfast instead. Safety always comes first. Now let's talk about your joints, because this is something that stops a lot of people over 50 before they even begin. Morning stiffness is real. When you've been lying still for several hours, the synovial fluid inside your joints, the fluid that lubricates and cushions your cartilage, is less distributed throughout the joint. Your muscles and connective tissue are cooler and tighter. Your joints feel creaky, achy, and reluctant. And so the temptation is to wait, to sit with your coffee, to let the body warm up on its own. But here's what most people don't realize. Movement is what circulates synovial fluid. Gentle, progressive movement in the morning is actually one of the best things you can do for your joint health. The key word is progressive. Don't walk out your front door and immediately launch into a brisk pace. Give your body 5 minutes of slower, gentler movement first. Let your joints warm up, let your muscles prepare. A proper warm-up before your morning walk is not optional when you're over 50. It's what makes the difference between a habit that heals and a habit that creates unnecessary pain. Conditions like osteoarthritis, which affects millions of people over 50, are often worsened by inactivity, not by movement. The cartilage in your joints does not have its own blood supply. It receives nutrients through the fluid that gets pressed in and out of it during movement. When you stop moving, cartilage slowly loses condition. Regular walking maintains the health of your joint cartilage, reduces inflammation, and over time actually reduces joint pain rather than increasing it. The discomfort you feel at the start of a morning walk is almost always the body warming up, not the body being damaged. But the real surprise comes next. Because we need to talk about something that affects almost every person over 50, and most of them have no idea it's connected to their morning habits. Let's talk about cortisol. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but it actually has a very important natural daily rhythm. Cortisol is highest in the morning, right after you wake up. This is called the cortisol awakening response, and it serves a purpose. It's your body's natural alarm system designed to get you alert and ready to move. After 50, this system can become dysregulated. Cortisol stays elevated for too long, or it fails to follow its natural arc. And the result is that the body remains in a state of low-grade physiological stress for much of the day. Chronically elevated cortisol breaks down muscle tissue, promotes fat storage in the abdomen, disrupts sleep, elevates blood pressure, suppresses immune function, and increases inflammation throughout the body. A brisk morning walk works with your cortisol rhythm in a powerful way. Exercise during the natural cortisol peak of the morning allows your body to use that cortisol productively, metabolizing it through physical activity rather than letting it circulate and cause damage. People who walk in the morning consistently report lower stress levels, better mood regulation throughout the day, and better sleep quality at night. And better sleep means lower cortisol the next morning. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle that protects your body from one of the most damaging and most overlooked forces of aging. Now here is the big mistake, the one that cancels out almost every benefit of this habit, and the one almost nobody talks about. People go for their morning walk, feel proud of themselves, and then come home and eat a breakfast that works completely against everything they just achieved. Specifically, they eat a high-sugar, high-refined carbohydrate breakfast immediately after their walk, a large glass of orange juice, white toast with jam, a bowl of sweetened cereal, a flavored yogurt that contains more added sugar than a candy bar. After a fast morning walk, your body's insulin sensitivity is at its peak. Your muscles are primed and ready to absorb nutrients with exceptional efficiency. This is one of the best windows of the entire day to give your body high-quality fuel. And when people flood that window with refined sugars and simple carbohydrates, they spike their blood sugar sharply, trigger a large insulin response, crash their energy within an hour, and essentially undo the metabolic work they just completed. What you eat after your morning walk is almost as important as the walk itself. A breakfast that includes quality protein, eggs, plain Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, along with some healthy fat and fiber will extend the benefits of your walk, support muscle repair, stabilize your blood sugar for the entire morning, and keep you feeling full and mentally sharp until lunch. And before we reach the final point, here is a bonus tip that most people overlook. And it makes a real, measurable difference. Walk outside, not on a treadmill. not in a gym, outside in natural light. Morning light exposure, specifically natural sunlight reaching your eyes and skin within the first hour of waking, triggers a cascade of biological events that regulate your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is your body's internal clock. It controls when you feel alert, when you feel sleepy, when cortisol rises and falls, when melatonin is released at night, and how deeply you sleep. After 50, the circadian rhythm naturally weakens. Morning light is one of the most powerful tools available to reset and strengthen it. When you walk outside in the morning, even on a cloudy day, you are giving your body a biological signal that sets the timing of your entire hormonal day. You will feel more naturally alert in the mornings, more genuinely tired at night, and you will fall into deeper and more restorative sleep. Combine natural light exposure with the physical benefits of the walk, and the result is a compounding effect on energy, mood, and recovery that goes far beyond what any supplement can offer. If you can walk near trees, grass, or water, even better. Time in natural environments has been independently shown to lower cortisol, reduce blood pressure, and improve mental health in ways that go beyond the exercise alone. Now let's bring it all together because I want to make sure you leave this video with a clear and complete picture. Walking before breakfast after 50 is not just a weight loss tip. It is a metabolic intervention. It shifts your body into fat-burning mode at the hormonal level. It improves insulin sensitivity in a way that protects you against one of the most dangerous age-related metabolic changes. It protects your brain, sharpens your memory, and lifts your mood before the day even begins. It wakes up your digestive system and keeps it running efficiently. It works with your natural cortisol rhythm to reduce stress damage and improve your sleep at night. It protects your joints through movement rather than rest. And it builds the kind of daily consistency that compounds into real, lasting, visible change over months and years. The key is doing it correctly. Walk at a brisk, purposeful pace. Give your joints a gentle warm-up first. Walk outside whenever possible. Drink water before you leave. Eat a protein-rich, fiber-dense breakfast when you return, and avoid the sugar mistake. And if you have a medical condition, especially diabetes or heart disease, talk to your doctor before making any changes to your routine. You don't need a gym. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need an hour, 20 to 30 minutes every morning before breakfast. That is it. That one simple habit, done consistently and done correctly, can genuinely change the way your body ages. It can protect your independence. It can reduce your risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, type 2 diabetes, and chronic inflammation. It can give you back your energy. And it can remind you every single morning that your body is capable of far more than you think at any age. The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is tomorrow morning. Now I want to hear from you. Do you currently walk in the mornings? And if you do you walk before or after breakfast? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might help someone else who is just getting started. If this video helped you understand your body a little better today, please give it a like. It helps more people over 50 find this information when they need it most. And if you want to keep learning how to use simple daily habits to protect your health, your energy, and your independence as you age, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. I'll see you in the next one.